The Senate will come to order. Senator Murphy.
Mr. President, I impose a call of the Senate.
The Senate is now under call. Senator Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that further proceedings under the roll call be dispensed with and that the Sergeant at Arms be instructed to bring in the absent members.
On that motion, all in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails. Members, will you be so kind as to stand? In our Senate tradition, we always start with prayer, and today's chaplain is Reverend Dan Stark from Wayzata Community Church in Wayzata, Minnesota. And following the prayer, please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I invite you to pray. Spirit of grace and source of all wisdom, today we pause in this historic chamber, mindful that we stand on the shoulders of those who dreamed of a Minnesota that did not yet exist. And we give thanks for this land, for the soil of the Iron Range to the deep hidden valleys of the driftless area, and the vibrant, pulsing heart of our cities. We recognize that in a state of 10,000 lakes, our lives are woven together in 10,000 ways. And as we stand in this season of transition, where the deep quiet of winter begins to stir with the promise of spring, we ask for a similar stirring of renewal in these walls. Grant these leaders patience to listen deeply, the courage to lead with empathy, and the clarity to seek common good for all. In the weight of responsibility, may they also find the lightness of hope. So may the work accomplished here today be like the spring thaw, breaking through the hardness to water the seeds of a future where all Minnesotans flourish in peace and dignity. Amen.
Thanks, members. The Secretary will take the roll.
Abler, Barr, Bolden, Carlson, Champion, Clark, Coleman, Swadzinski, Dames, Dibble, Dornick, Draheim, Drazkowski, Duckworth, Farnsworth, Fateh, Frentz, Green, Grunhagen, Gustafson, Hochschild, Herr, Heinzman, Hemmingson Yeager, Hoffman, Holmstrom, Housley, Howe, Jasinski, Johnson, Johnson-Stewart, Klein, Coran, Kroon, Kunish, Kupek, Lang, Latz, Liskey, Limmer, Lucero, Mann, Marty, Matthews, May Quaid, McEwen, Miller, Mohammed, Murphy, Nelson, Verbaten, Pappas, Pa, Port, Pratt, Putnam, Rarick, Rasmussen, Rest, Seeberger, Utke, Weber, Wiesenberg, Westland, Westrom, Wickland, Zhang.
Members, a quorum is present. The following members intend to vote from a remote location under Rule 40.7. Senators Carlson, Coleman, Heisman, Miller, Umu Verbaden, Pratt, and Weber. Members, if you'd like to follow along with me, I am reading from today's Senate agenda dated Thursday, March 12, 2026. We will begin at the second order of business. That's executive and official communications. The following communications were received and referred as indicated. Members, we'll now proceed to the fifth order of business, which is reports of committees. There are committee reports to be read at the desk. The secretary will read the reports.
Senator Marty from the Committee on Finance, to which was re-referred Senate File Number 3832, a bill for an act relating to agriculture, modifying eligibility for the Dairy Assistance Investment and Relief Initiative Program. Reports the same back with a recommendation that the bill do pass. And Senator Marty from the Committee on Finance, to which was re-referred Senate File Number 3857, a bill for an act relating to natural resources, appropriating money from the Environment and Natural Resources Trust Fund. Reports the same back with a recommendation that the bill be amended as follows. And when so amended, the bill do pass.
Senator Murphy for a motion to adopt committee reports.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the committee reports printed in the agenda and read by the secretary be adopted.
On the adoption of the committee reports, all in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails, members. We'll proceed now to the sixth order of business, which is second reading of Senate bills. The secretary will read the Senate file numbers.
Senate File Numbers 3980, 3868, 3832, and 3857.
The Senate files have been given their second reading. Members, will now proceed to the eighth order of business, which is introduction and first reading of Senate bills. The bills listed on today's introduction calendar are given their first reading and referred as indicated. Members, will now proceed to the ninth order of business, which is motions and resolutions. We will adopt the author's motions as one motion. All in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails. I will now call on individual senators for a motion. Members, we will begin with Senator Abler. Senator Abler.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's been a challenging time, but I think this is something we all can agree on. I move that Senate File 4354, now in the Committee on Health and Human Services, be re-referred to the Committee on Human Services. It has to do with providers and the withholdings and matters with fraud. And I've talked to both chairs, and they are ecstatic about this motion, Mr. Chair. So hopefully you can be that enthusiastic as well. Thank you.
Senator Abler moved that Senate File Number 4354 be withdrawn from the Committee on Health and Human Services and re-referred to the Committee on Human Services. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails. I will now recognize Senator Klein.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. President, I move that Senate File 3859 be withdrawn from the Committee on Health and Human Services and re-referred to the Committee on State and Local Government. I've talked to both authors, and all are in agreement.
Thank you, Senator Klein. Senator Klein moves that Senate File Number 3859 be withdrawn from the Committee on Health and Human Services and re-referred to the Committee on State and Local Governments. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails. I will now recognize Senator Hutcheson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Senate File Number 4116 be withdrawn from the Committee on State and Local Government and be re-referred to the Committee on Environment, Climate, and Legacy. I've spoken with both chairs, and they're in agreement.
Senator Hutcheson moves that Senate File Number 4116 be withdrawn from the Committee on State and Local Government and re-referred to the Committee on Environment, Climate, and Legacy. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails. Members, the Secretary will report the Senate Concurrent Resolution number 7.
Senators Murphy and Johnson introduced Senate Concurrent Resolution number 7, a Senate Concurrent Resolution relating to adjournment for more than 3 days.
Senator Murphy for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to adopt Senate Concurrent Resolution number 7.
To the resolution, Senator Murphy. Explain it, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is mid-March, as we know, and we can feel both time passing quickly and hints of spring. Senate Concurrent Resolution number 7 allows the Senate and the House to adjourn for more than 3 days for Eid and the Easter and the Passover breaks.
Is there any discussion on the resolution? Seeing none, seeing no further discussion, all in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails. Remaining under motions and resolutions, I am again calling on Senator Murphy for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to take up the confirmation calendar.
All in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails and the resolution is adopted. My apologies. The confirmation calendar is before us. I am now calling on Senator Dibble for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the report from the Committee on Transportation reported February 26, 2026, pertaining to appointments, be taken from the table.
All in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. The motion prevails. Senator Dibble.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the foregoing report be now adopted.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. The motion prevails. Senator Dibble.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that in accordance with the report from the Committee on Transportation reported February 26, 2026, the Senate, having given its advice, do now consent to and confirm the appointment of Robin Hutcheson for Chair of the Metropolitan Council.
Would you like to give us any additional details on the calendar?
Yes. Thank you. I was just making the motion, waiting for you to ask me to do that. Thank you, Mr. President. So, Mr. President, members, I have moved the confirmation of Robin Hutcheson as chair of the Metropolitan Council because I believe her qualifications for this role are exceptional. Robin Hutcheson brings decades of experience in transportation, infrastructure, and public service at the local, national, and international levels. She most recently served as administrator of the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration in the U.S. Department of Transportation, where she oversaw nationwide safety mission, led more than 1,000 employees, and helped implement major federal infrastructure investments focused on safety, technology, and access. Prior to that, she served as Deputy Assistant Secretary for Policy at, again, the U.S. Department of Transportation, where she played a key role in developing and implementing national roadway safety strategies. Many of us know Chair Hutcheson best from her work closer to home. From 2016 to 2021, she served as the Director of Public Works for the City of Minneapolis, leading a department of more than 1,000 employees and managing hundreds of millions of dollars in infrastructure and capital investments each year. During that time, I had the opportunity to work with Robin Hutcheson on many issues affecting the city and the region. I found her not to be only extraordinarily capable and thoughtful, but also a great person to work with. She approaches complex problems with professionalism, humility, and a collaborative spirit. But what stood out most to me in our work together was how she understood that infrastructure was never just about bricks and mortar. The roads we build, the transit we use, the water systems we maintain, those public spaces that we move through and we design, these are the ways government delivers essential services that affect people's daily lives and our shared future. She consistently took the time to engage with communities, to listen carefully to the people most affected by those projects, incorporate their values, ideals, and aspirations into the work. She understands that public infrastructure is fundamentally about people, about safety, access, opportunity, and quality of life. Members, the Metropolitan Council plays an enormously important role in our region. like township boards, city councils, county commissions, it is responsible for the daily delivery of core public services that affect the lives of every single person in the Twin Cities. Planning for growth, operating and investing in transit, protecting the environment, managing wastewater systems, making the major infrastructure decisions. The council has taxing authority. They appropriate hundreds of millions of dollars. Its decisions can supersede those of locally elected people. So it is essential that it is led by someone who is deeply attuned to the public it serves and is responsive to their elected representatives. We need leadership that is accessible, transparent, and accountable, working collaboratively with the Metropolitan Council members, legislators, local officials, and communities across the region. If this body is not going to be elected directly by the people, it is essential that someone with her caliber and her qualities be that leader. So for these reasons, members, I strongly urge your support. And Mr. President, I now renew my motion. Thank you very much. And Mr. President,
Senator Dibble.
I would like to request a roll call.
Roll call requested, roll call granted. Members, any discussion to the motion presented by Senator Dibble? Senator Jaskowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Senator Dibble, for your introduction of this topic. As I look through Ms. Hutcheson's resume, I see that she has directed public works in the city of Minneapolis, done work at the United States Department of Transportation, and others. And Salt Lake City Transportation Division Director. I have a worry, Senator Dibble, and I'm wondering if Senator Dibble would yield, Mr. President.
Senator Dibble, will you yield? He will yield. Senator Jaskowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Dibble, my worry is this. We have a government that is rampant with fraud here in the state of Minnesota. We have institutional corruption going on throughout several or maybe many agencies in this state. This could be a chance for us to make a clean break in this particular department to ensure that we don't have the same repeat behavior going on, and we have somebody who is going to make certain that we don't have corruption in the Met Council. So my question to you is, has this candidate supervised over any portion of government that had substantial fraud identified in it?
Senator Dibble, to the question.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for the question, Senator Jaskowski. I share your concern about fraud, but even beyond fraud, I'm always concerned about transparency, accountability, mismanagement, and the ability of those in elected position to respond effectively to those. So I appreciate the question. To my knowledge, the answer to your question is no, she has not.
Senator Jaskowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Senator Dibble. Members, I remain guarded on whether I have enough information about this individual's past, but certainly as I consider my vote, Senator Dibble, I will consider what you had to say. I would like, as we bring candidates forward beyond this one, Mr. President, I would ask the members that are guiding those efforts to bring forward with it a component that made us certain that the candidate being brought forward hasn't been involved in fraud in the past. So I look, for instance, Mr. President, at our own Minnesota Department of Human Services, that there is a commissioner certification or approval pending there that has a commissioner, Mr. President, that has supervised fraud in the Minnesota Department of Human Services for the last year or two now, and they are now being sent forward as commissioner. That should be troubling and alarming to every Minnesotan. And I hope we don't have that same thing here. Mr. President, Senator Dibble, thank you.
Senator Barr.
Thank you, Mr. President. I really don't know where to begin with this. While Ms. Hutcheson may be a qualified candidate, she's getting ready to head an agency that shouldn't even exist. We are the only MPO in the United States that does not conform to the federal rules. We are the only MPO that is not made up of a majority of elected officials. Every one of these officials is appointed by the governor, and this is the only one that we actually get to vote on, a straight up or down confirmation or not confirmation, but it doesn't reform the Met Council in itself. As Senator Dibble mentioned, this is an organization that directly taxes, but yet is not accountable to the voter. This is an organization that supersedes local control. Our counties and cities can be superseded by an unaccountable agency. Yes, has gone from a transportation advisory board, which by federal law, as I previously mentioned, is supposed to be made up of a majority of elected officials from our counties and cities, or members that elected officials within its control area. It has gone into parks and trails, sewer and water, bus, rapid transit. This is an organization that is way past the time for a complete overhaul and dismantling. It should go back to its core function of being an advisory board, and all of the other functions it does can be reverted back to either a city, a county, or the state. It has absolutely no need to be into all of these different pieces that it's in. Just the very existence is a problem. As to one other thing here, while she was working with the city of Minneapolis, she was responsible for advancing significant transportation projects, including light rail and bus rapid transit. So the OLA did a report last year on Southwest Light Rail, which was advanced and funded and authorized during her time with the city of Minneapolis. That particular line is at least twice 100% over budget, depending on which starting number you want to use. The starting number could be anywhere from $1 billion to $1.5 billion or $2 billion. When Commissioner Zelli was asked about this during the OLA report, there was a difference of opinion which number they wanted to use as the project will cost X. So we can't even agree on where the starting point is, but we know that it's way above every one of the three different numbers that we were presented in committee that could be counted as a possible, the project will cost X. So this all happened while she was at the city of Minneapolis. While it's true that this was overseen by the Metropolitan Council, if you are in a position to advance that project, you're in a position to be able to make sure that some of the problems that we had, the Chenoweth Tunnel, working across wetlands, all of the things that we knew would cost exorbitant amounts of money, if you're in the planning stages, that's part of your responsibility. So with those comments in mind, I will not be voting for confirmation, not necessarily on all of her qualifications or non-qualifications, and I could go into the MFCSA part as well, but we'll leave that for a different conversation. The fact that this agency even exists with an appointment as opposed to elected officials because of its ability to tax us directly, I will not be voting for this confirmation. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Jasinski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Senator Dibble, for bringing this forward. I would echo the qualifications sound really good on paper. Ms. Hutcheson came into my office and reached out to me to introduce herself and talk over the issues, and she seems perfectly qualified. I would agree. But she's only been there 3 months. What do we know? What do we know about the performance? The checks and balances that the Senate has is for confirmation. So we get to have those checks and balances, to watch the performance, and if she's not performing, we cannot approve her. We're 3 months into her time with Met Council. We don't know anything. Yet, across the aisle, Democrats will not bring up the confirmation hearing on Commissioner Gandhi, who's been with the department almost 8 or 9 years. She's been the compliance officer, the deputy commissioner. We have rampant fraud in our state that's going on, over $9 billion. And we're confirming someone today. We're taking up the vote on a confirmation today of someone who's been here for 3 months. I won't echo everyone else's concerns. Senator Barr made some great points, Senator Drazkowski as well. But I'm concerned we're going to confirm someone here who has only 3 months on the job. We don't know the performance. Sure, her background looks good, education, qualifications, all those things look good. But we don't know, as far as the Met Council, what's going on. Again, we've had the Southwest Light Rail that was billions of dollars over budget. We've had rampant fraud in DHS. I hope that Ms. Hutcheson does well, because I'm sure she'll get confirmed here today. But I'm frustrated that we're talking about someone who's been on the job for 3 months when we can't get a commitment, when we're going to bring up on a confirmation hearing on the commissioner of DHS, who's been here for almost 9 years, compliance officer, deputy commissioner, $9 billion in fraud, and we're bringing up this confirmation day. It's disappointing. For that reason, I will not be able to vote in favor.
Senator Dibble.
Mr. President, I would move to lay this confirmation on the table and ask for a roll call.
Roll call has been requested. Roll call granted. To that motion, the secretary will take the roll. Senator Hur.
Mr. President, Senator Carson vote aye.
Senator Carlson votes aye.
And Senator Umu Verbatim vote aye.
Senator Umu Verbatim votes aye. Senator Jasinski, for those voting pursuant to Rule 40.7.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Miller votes aye.
Senator Miller votes aye.
Senator Coleman votes aye.
Senator Coleman votes aye.
Senator Heinzman votes aye.
Senator Heisman votes aye.
Senator Pratt votes aye.
Senator Pratt votes aye.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Weber votes aye.
And Senator Weber votes aye. All senators having voted who desires to vote, the secretary will close the roll. There have been 54 ayes and 10 nays. The motion to lay the bill on the confirmation on the table prevails. Members, I will now remaining under motions and resolutions, I will now call on Senator Murphy to designate special orders.
Mr. President, pursuant to Rule 26 and a commitment to do the work of this body, I designate the following bills be made special orders for immediate consideration.
Members, the special orders list is on your desk and has been signed by the majority leader. We will start with Senate file number 3402, Senator Utke.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I will hope that my voice lasts throughout this short little bill. So, thank you. Members, the bill before us modifies the definition of medical consultant in our Community Health Board's chapter, expanding those professionals who may act as a medical consultant for community health boards. In current law, medical consultant is limited to physicians licensed to practice medicine in Minnesota. This bill expands the licensed professionals eligible to act as medical consultants to the following professionals: a doctor of osteopathic medicine, a physician assistant, an advanced practice registered nurse certified to practice as a clinical nurse specialist or nurse practitioner. Currently, there are 53 community health boards in Minnesota. This would allow these community health boards to expand their options to coordinate their activities with local medical practitioners and healthcare institutions. These professionals are then appointed by the board to ensure appropriate medical advice and direction for the Community Health Board and assist the board and its staff in the coordination of community health services. On a final note, it was one of our guys that just said this morning, you know, back when this was probably first written, we referred to our health professionals, we had nurses, we had doctors. Today we have a lot more professional licenses that are fully qualified that can fit under this same classification and help out our community health boards. So with today's terminology and being able to expand this, our local boards will just be that much more efficient and be able to serve us better. And finally, I would like to thank my co-author, Senator Wickland, and thank Senator Wickland for holding the committee hearing in Health and Human Services. That day we had one testifier. Everything went fast. There was 100% support. So members, I would ask for that again here today on the floor. Please vote green.
Any discussion on the bill? Senator Wickland.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just wanted to rise in support of the bill. One of my community local public health directors brought this to my attention this year before we had heard the bill. They were very concerned in Bloomington. They have a medical consultant today, but that person is likely to retire soon, and being able to look at other professionals when they are filling that position will be helpful because they're not sure they'll be able to find a medical doctor to fill the role. So I appreciate your bringing it forward, Senator Utke, and I would ask members to support the bill.
Any other discussion on the bill before we go to third reading? Seeing none, the Secretary will give the bill its third reading.
Senate File Number 3402, a bill for an act relating to health, modifying the professions that may serve as a medical consultant for a community health board.
Third reading. Any other discussion before we proceed to voting for final passage for Senate File Number 3402? Seeing no further discussion, the Secretary will take the roll on final passage of Senate File Number 3402. Members, please vote.
Mr. President.
Senator Jasinski, for those voting pursuant to Rule 40.7.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Miller votes aye.
Senator Miller votes aye.
Senator Coleman votes aye.
Senator Coleman votes aye.
Senator Heinzman votes aye.
Senator Heinzman votes aye.
Senator Pratt votes aye.
Senator Pratt votes aye.
Senator Weber votes aye.
Senator Weber votes aye.
Senator Dames votes aye.
Senator Dames votes aye.
And thank you, Mr. President. Senator Abler votes aye.
And Senator Abler votes aye. Senator Hurd, for those voting pursuant to Rule 40.7.
Mr. President, Senator Carlson vote aye.
Senator Carlson votes aye.
And Senator Umu Verbatim votes aye.
Senator Umu Verbatim votes aye. All senators having voted who desires to vote, the secretary will close the roll. There have been 64 ayes and 2 nays. The bill is passed and its title agreed to. Members, we will now proceed to the 13th order of business. Senator Hutcheson Jaeger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just rise to say Happy Pi Day. Pi Day is a day to celebrate our scientists, our engineers, our mathematicians, and really all who celebrate March 14th. A little bit of information about Pi Day. It's a little mathematical symbol, kind of looks like a mini Stonehenge. It represents the ratio of a circle, of its circumference to its diameter. It's an irrational number, which means it's never ending and it never repeats. So it's often abbreviated to 3.14, which is why we celebrate on March 14th. So even though March 14th is a Saturday, I invite anybody on the floor today to enjoy a piece of pie from Key's Bakery and Dorothy Ann's Bakery in Woodbury. They're across the hall in the President's office, and I want to thank you, Mr. President, for allowing me the opportunity to spread some nerdy joy in the Senate.
And Senator, can you tell us what type of pie is going to be there?
We have all sorts. There's a gluten-free crust cherry pie. We have some vegan, dairy-free little Kit Kat Crunch things. We also have everything: coconut cream, French silk, key lime, cherry, triple berry, peach, pecan, pumpkin. There should be a flavor hopefully everybody can enjoy.
Thank you so very much. And without objection, the following senators will be excused from today's session: Abler from 11:20 to 11:35, Housley 11:25 until the end. Any additional announcements of Senate interests? Seeing none, Senator Murphy for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. We learn as very young children when we put our hands on a hot stove, we get burned. We don't forget that lesson very easily. We came to do the work of the people here of Minnesota, and I hope everybody comes back to work next week ready to do the work together for the people of Minnesota. With that, Mr. President, I move the Senate do now adjourn until Monday, March 16th at 11 a.m.
On that motion, all in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails. The Senate is now adjourned. Please make